David's heart is like a deep fire, set strong.
What happens when a shepherd who defeated a giant suddenly finds himself standing at the gates of power? Victory can turn into danger, and every step forward can awaken enemies you never expected. House of David Season 2 is about to test David like never before, and this time, God's chosen hero discovers that Goliath was only the beginning. The trailer for House of David Season 2 wastes no time reminding us why this story has captured so many hearts. The last time we saw David, he had just faced the impossible and brought down the towering warrior Goliath. That single victory made him a legend overnight. But as the new season begins, the triumph that lifted him up also places him in the most dangerous position of his life. Because the moment you become a hero, the world starts watching every move you make, some with admiration, others with jealousy. Season 2 dives directly into the aftermath of that iconic battle. The battlefield is still echoing with the cries of victory, yet tension hangs in the air. David's fame spreads like fire across Israel, and the people begin to see him as the warrior destined to lead them. But for Saul, the king who once seemed untouchable, those cheers for David feel like a warning. The bond between king and warrior is fragile, and jealousy seeps into Saul's heart. From the very beginning of the season, we see how quickly admiration can twist into suspicion, and how the rise of one man can unravel another. What makes the season so powerful is not just the battles, it's the relationships. David and Jonathan's friendship takes center stage, and the trailer hints at how deep, loyal, and tragic their bond will become. Jonathan, Saul's son, sees David not as a rival, but as a brother. Their connection is built on trust and courage, but viewers already sense the heartbreak that lies ahead. Because in a kingdom ruled by jealousy, even the strongest friendship will be tested by fire. At the same time, love begins to weave its way into the story. The trailer reveals David's growing closeness to Mikall, Saul's daughter. Their love might seem like a light in the middle of conflict, but we already know that it also plants the seeds of danger. Saul's paranoia cannot ignore the fact that his daughter loves the very man who threatens his throne. This triangle of love, loyalty, and rivalry is the fuel that drives the story forward. Visually and emotionally, Season 2 promises something far larger than what we saw before. The action is fierce, the battles are raw, and the stakes are higher. But at its heart, this is not only a story of swords and crowns, it's the story of how power changes people. David is stepping into his destiny, but with every step, the shadows around him grow darker. The victory over Goliath may have been a miracle from God, but surviving Saul's rage and the shifting politics of the kingdom will demand even more faith, courage, and sacrifice. What makes this even more gripping is how closely the show draws from the Bible itself. In the book of 1 Samuel, David's journey after defeating Goliath is not a straight path to glory. It is a path of tests, betrayals, and heartbreak. Season 2 captures that exact tension. The trailer's tagline, "A hero's victory becomes a dangerous ascent to power," is more than just words. It's the very heartbeat of David's story. We are watching a man chosen by God but hunted by the very king he serves. Every frame of the trailer teases what's coming. Saul's decline into paranoia, Jonathan's unwavering loyalty, Mikall's complicated love, and David's transformation from shepherd boy into warrior. There are moments of triumph, but they are shadowed by betrayal. There are glimpses of love, but they are poisoned by jealousy. And there are victories, but they are followed by challenges that push David to his limits. Season 2 is not just continuing the story, it is magnifying it. Everything is bigger. The battles, the emotions, the betrayals, the love, and the heartbreak. The story does not slow down. It reminds us that when God calls someone, the journey will never be easy, but it will always be powerful. And as the trailer shows, David's victory was never the end. It was the beginning of a struggle that will shape not only his future, but the destiny of an entire nation. The trailer makes it clear that Season 2 is going to be about more than just David's rise. It's about the unraveling of Saul. In Season 1, we only caught glimpses of his instability. There were cracks in the foundation, small moments of doubt and anger that hinted at something darker inside him. But now, in season 2, those cracks break wide open. Saul knows the people are whispering David's name with more excitement than his own. He knows his soldiers admire the young shepherd who killed a giant more than the king who sits on the throne. And for a man who has spent his life clinging to power, nothing is more terrifying than being replaced. From the very start, Saul's paranoia casts a shadow over every relationship. His love for Jonathan becomes twisted with fear because Jonathan's loyalty to David feels like betrayal. His role as a father becomes poisoned by jealousy because Mikall's affection for David feels like disobedience. Even his faith becomes shaky as he realizes the prophet Samuel no longer looks at him with confidence, but with sorrow. Every decision Saul makes is driven by desperation, and the trailer shows him slipping deeper into a darkness that no crown can protect him from. This makes the tension between Saul and David impossible to ignore. David does not want to steal Saul's throne, at least not yet. But his very presence, his victories, and his favor with the people make Saul's fears grow stronger with each passing day. The trailer shows scenes of Saul on horseback, clashing with enemies, but what stands out is not his strength, it's his unease. Even in victory, his eyes reveal insecurity, because he knows the real battle is not with the Philistines, but with the boy who has captured Israel's heart. While Saul descends, David rises. But his rise is not smooth or simple. The trailer teases moments of joy, his friendship with Jonathan, his romance with Mikall, but every blessing is shadowed by danger. Jonathan's loyalty to David places him at odds with his own father. Mikall's love for David paints a target on both of them, and David himself cannot escape the heavy burden of being chosen by God. This season asks a haunting question. How does a man remain faithful when every path around him is filled with betrayal? And then there's the action. If season 1 gave us the thrill of David versus Goliath, season 2 promises something even grander. The battles are not just one-on-one duels, but sprawling, chaotic wars. We see armies clashing, swords flashing, and horses thundering across the battlefield. But what makes these battles powerful is not the scale, it's the meaning. Each fight is a step in David's transformation from shepherd into warrior. Each scar, each victory, each loss shapes him into the leader Israel will one day need. The trailer is a reminder that every triumph has a cost, and for David, that cost is only getting higher. Still, the most gripping part of the trailer is not the action, it's the emotion. Jonathan's unwavering devotion to David, even when it puts him against Saul, is destined to break hearts. Mikall's tender love for David, complicated by her father's hatred, promises conflict that feels almost unbearable. And Saul's tragic downfall, a king losing himself piece by piece, hangs like a storm cloud over the entire season. This is a story of love and loyalty, but it is also a story of jealousy, fear, and betrayal. Season 2 carries a theme that echoes through every frame. A hero's greatest battles are not always fought with swords. They are fought within families, within friendships, and within the human heart. David's victory over Goliath proved his courage, but his struggle with Saul will test his faith, his patience, and his destiny. Can he remain loyal to a king who wants him destroyed? Can he protect the people he loves without tearing the kingdom apart? Can he stay true to God's calling, even when it costs him everything? The trailer gives us glimpses, but no answers. That is what makes it so powerful. Every shot, every line, every image teases us with the promise of both triumph and tragedy. We know David's story is legendary, but watching it unfold in this way reminds us that legends are not built on easy victories. They are forged in suffering, sacrifice, and choices that leave scars. As Season 2 prepares to premiere, it carries a clear message. The battle with Goliath was only the beginning. The real war is just starting, and this time, the enemy is not just outside Israel's gates, it is inside Saul's heart. And that enemy may prove harder to defeat than any giant ever could. As the trailer closes, one thing becomes painfully clear. David's path is not just a rise to glory, it is a climb through fire. Season 2 does not simply retell history, it makes us feel it. The roar of crowds cheering David's name, the heavy silence of Saul watching from the shadows, the quiet but powerful bond between Jonathan and David, the stolen moments between David and Mikall, all of it builds into a story that feels both deeply human and divinely guided. The Bible shows us that David's victories are not rewards without cost. With every step he takes toward the throne, he also steps further into danger. The people may see a hero, but Saul sees a rival. The soldiers may see a leader, but Saul sees a threat. And even as David wins battles on the field, he must fight even harder to protect the relationships that matter most to him. The trailer teases these conflicts with precision, reminding us that the story of David is not only about faith and destiny, it is about survival. What makes House of David Season 2 so captivating is its ability to balance the epic and the intimate. On one hand, we have the grand wars, the sweeping battles, and the clash of nations. On the other, we have moments so personal that they break your heart. The loyalty of Jonathan, the love of Mikall, the slow unraveling of Saul. Together, these layers form a story that is as much about the soul as it is about the sword, and we cannot ignore the spiritual weight that runs through this season. Every triumph David experiences is shadowed by the knowledge that he is chosen by God for a purpose greater than himself. But being chosen does not mean being safe. It means being tested. The tagline, "A hero's victory becomes a dangerous ascent to power," is not just a clever phrase. It is the very truth of David's journey. Victory opens the door, but destiny demands sacrifice. The trailer also reminds us that the real strength of this show is not just in its production or its cast, it's in its message. In a world filled with fear, jealousy, and betrayal, David's story is a reminder that God's hand is still at work, shaping events in ways we cannot always see. It shows us that faith is not easy, that being chosen comes with burdens, and that true victory is often found in perseverance, not in comfort. For viewers, this makes House of David more than just entertainment. It becomes an experience of hope, struggle, and the timeless truth that God's plan often leads us through the storm before it brings us into the promise. As we look at the final moments of the trailer, it's impossible not to feel the weight of what's coming. David's story is only just beginning, but already the road ahead looks treacherous. We see Saul's eyes filled with suspicion, Jonathan's torn heart, Mikall's tender yet dangerous love, and David himself standing at the edge of a destiny that could cost him everything. The giant has fallen, but the true giants of jealousy, betrayal, and fear are only now rising. And that's what makes Season 2 so thrilling. It isn't about one battle. It's about a journey that takes a shepherd boy into the halls of kings, a journey that binds friendships tighter than family, a journey that tests love, faith, and courage at every turn. It is the story of how God shapes a leader not through ease, but through trial. As October 5th approaches, fans of House of David are not just waiting for a show. They're waiting for a story that has been told for thousands of years to come alive in a way we've never seen before. A story of a hero chosen by God, a king consumed by fear, and a nation caught in the middle. Season 2 promises to be epic, emotional, and unforgettable, and if the trailer is any indication, God's victory is coming. But victory never comes without sacrifice. The question is not whether David will rise, but what it will cost him to get there. That is the journey Season 2 invites us to witness. That is the story that will keep us on the edge of our seats. And that is why House of David Season 2 is not just a continuation, it's a revelation.